Of the 30 teams in the NBA, there are only 5 that have a chance at the championship. The others are there to help those 5 get wins. Of those remaining teams, you have a few that no one wants to watch. Then you have those that are probably going to finish mid-table. Then you have the great teams that had one bad season and no one thinks will bounce back. Instead of talking about the 5 teams that will win a championship, I'm going to talk about the 5 that won't win a championship, but will have a story that's worth the watch next season. My name is Rotimi. I love basketball. I love to talk basketball, and I hope one day you can share that same love for basketball as I. The Detroit Pistons. Will they win more than 14 games next season? The Pistons were doomed last year. They became a hoax, and even though they had a great coach, they were still the worst team in the league. The team's construction didn't make any sense, and in addition to that, the team was very young, so that didn't help. Cade Cunningham was expected to have a breakout year, but that didn't happen. They sucked. This year, they will look very different. Finally, the worst three-point shooting team have some shooters. To name a few: Malik Beasley, Simon Fontecchio, Tim Hardaway Jr., Tobias Harris, Marcus Sasser, and Isaiah Stewart. Isaiah Stewart that did this.
Stewart is hot, and everybody's coming out now.
Cade averaged 7.5 assists last season and ranked 11th in potential assists with about 12.8. This year, with the added spacing, we can actually see him do his thing, playmaking. Now his skills won't be limited and he will be on full display for us to witness. The Pistons also have Jaden Ivey. He's one to watch. After shooting 59% from the three-point in the preseason games, I'm not saying that he's going to repeat the same in the regular season, but for someone that shot 35% last year, you can tell that this is a player that definitely worked on his game. Now, Coach JB Bickerstaff has been implemented and added some new rules, telling them that they can't wear any hoods or jewelry to work. He believes the team needs some order. They need to focus more on winning and less on trying not to lose. Will they win more than 14 games next season? Yes, but not more than 28. Next, we have the Houston Rockets, and the big question for them is, who are they going to play? 4 seasons ago, this Rockets lineup won 17 games, led by coach Stephen Silas. A year later, they would win 20 games, and then after making some adjustments, they improved their record by 2 the following season. So after seeing no success, they decided to fire Stephen Silas, and they hired the pimp, Ime Udoka. Along with some great plays in the offseason, this combination led them to win 41 games last season, nearly doubling the wins of the previous season. With the veterans of Steven Adams, Dylan Brooks, Fred VanVleet, and Jeff Green, which of the young players are actually going to be given enough playing time to grow? Alperen Şengün, for example, has shown potential looking like baby Jokic, averaging 21, 9, and 5, whilst having the 14th highest PER in the league, above Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. All that being said though, what is their solution for Jabari Parker? He is also a skilled big who would ideally probably play at the 4 but can also play at the 5. But with the addition of Steven Adams, who will get more time? Then we have the guard and wing position that comes with even more complications. Starting with, Jalen Green continues to show so much promise as a scorer, as an explosive guard. However, he may not be a lock. After seeing Reece Shepherd in the Summer League and in the preseason, he may be the best rookie to come out the draft. And it's because he's NBA ready. He's an all-around player who can practically be whatever they need him to be. And then we have Tari Eason, Amen Thompson, and Cam Whitmore, who all showed considerable highlights last season. They have all proved that they can be valuable to the Rockets in the future as versatile wings, who continue to show flashes of potential, but whilst only playing 20 minutes a game, their success will be limited. VanVleet and Dylan Brooks are getting paid way too much for their minutes to be docked and for them not to start. Figuring this all out will be difficult. I think though, the Rockets have the right coach to lead them. Ime will find a way for this team to gel and manage all the players' egos. Things may be very unpredictable for the Rockets this season, but one thing I'm certain of is that they will play good basketball because they have good pieces. Next, we have the Memphis Grizzlies. Ja Morant is back and the rest will fall in place. Let me take you back to before the gun and the injuries. The Memphis Grizzlies had every team in the league mad. If you didn't start that night with your A game, the Grizzlies were going to make sure they bring it out of you. In 2023, Ja Morant was looking like the best point guard in the league. He'd kill you with his jab step cross. He'd try and dunk on you or just simply try and embarrass you. He was running their offense, and that year he was an all-star. With his swag, everyone else has followed. Jaren Jackson Jr. was a defensive player of the year, leading the league in blocks per game. Desmond Bane was a reliable scoring option, a certified lockdown on defense, and the definition of a 3-and-D. Truth be told, they would look like a future Big Three. They finished second in the West and had over 50 wins. But their trash-talking swagger only got them bounced in the first round because Dillon Brooks decided to poke the bear. That wouldn't matter though because they would have next year. So we thought, until Ja started waving a gun around on Insta Live. Just like that, he was banned for half the season and the Grizzlies were cooked. To start the 23-24 season, they were trash, and without Ja, they looked like they had no identity. Even though they tried to add Derrick Rose and Marcus Smart, they were still bums. Before December 19th, they had played 25 games and won 6. Then Ja returned, and life was sweet. In those 9 games, he was averaging 25 and looked like he had never missed a beat. At this rate, they were making the playoffs. And then this happened. Their playoff hopes were crushed, and they finished that season with 27 wins. So, fast forward to the beginning of this season, and we know the Grizzlies are ready to come back. Their main core of Bane, Jackson Jr., Brandon Clark, and Ja Morant will all be healthy. Ja now has a 7-footer in Zach Edey, who has been babying all the centers around the league. And then we also have Yuki, who I don't think will get minutes, but you know what? We just love the guy. He's so good. He's so good. Just look at this. Look at all the highlights. He's so good. Anyway, I'm done. Anyways, with that being said, the Grizzlies will turn some heads this season with their identity being back. Ja Morant. I think that's a sick nickname. Let me know in the comments if you agree. Following the Grizzlies, we have the Golden State Warriors. Could they be back? They won all of their preseason games, and the young core may have finally found a way to mesh with the veterans. But before we get to that, let's start with Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield has been brought in to replace Klay Thompson and provide some more consistent three-point shooting. Is there a potential for a Splash Bros sequel? Although people thought this was their biggest move of the offseason, I also think the addition of Kyle Anderson and DeAnthony Melton will also help bolster their defense. But most of the team's success after falling on Steph will also fall onto the youth. Starting with Jonathan Kuminga, who looks like he should be able to dominate any matchup in front of him physically, but hasn't quite stepped into his potential. Last year, we saw him start 46 games and average 16 points a game. The question for him this season will be if he's ready to become a star for the Warriors. Then we also have Brandon Podziemski, Trace Jackson Jr., and Moses Moody, who are all expected to play significant minutes as role players. The Warriors staff had a lot of high praise for Moses Moody, especially after his 2 20-point performances in the preseason, all whilst playing around 20 minutes. We also saw the success of Brandon Podziemski looking like a great secondary point guard, but also the success of Trace Jackson Jr. last year looking like a secondary Kevin Looney. One issue the Warriors have faced recently was getting their younger players to adjust to their playstyle. There was a disconnect between the old and the young, but this season it looks like things have been fixed. The Warriors will always be a play-in team in my eyes, and it won't be until they get started that I'll have an idea of what they can actually do. One reason you should pay attention to them though is because they were hunting Lauri Markkanen very heavily in the offseason. I wouldn't be surprised if they make a huge mid-season trade for him. Finally, we have the Chicago Bulls, who have multiple reasons why you should watch them. First, let's start with Lonzo Ball. He is back and he will return to his top point guard shape. He has not played in the last 2 years and has pretty much had a whole knee replacement. But after watching him play in the preseason, this man's game went nowhere. He was diving for loose balls, playing defense, and hitting shots. Lonzo looked great. But what are they going to do about this Josh Giddey situation? The Bulls obviously wanted to protect themselves in the offseason and they traded for Josh Giddey. But now with Lonzo, how will they play together? Will they play together? Especially after looking at Kobe White's breakout season last year as a starter. Suddenly you can't bench him, especially when he was in contention for most improved player last year. Honestly, I wonder what they're going to do with their guard lineup. But then another reason to watch them is because of their rookie, Matas Buzelis. Matas Buzelis is a 6'8 rookie with a lot of promise. He's super athletic and a skilled scorer who came from the G League Ignite. So he's already got some pro experience on his side. Looking at the rookies in this draft, this might be the most open Rookie of the Year race in the last 5 years. And I believe that he can take the crown, but it all depends on what the Bulls want to do for him. Is this part of his journey? But if he gets enough playing time, which it looks like he will, then the award will be his. The final reason you should watch the Bulls is because of Zach LaVine, because Zach LaVine's so good. I hope he has a great season, but most importantly, I actually hope he gets traded. He's wasting away in Chicago and deserves to be on a championship roster. But his contract is too much to work in a trade. Whilst he's there, we might as well enjoy him. He might hit 10 threes, he might score 50, he might get a crazy poster dunk. The man is a walking highlight reel. Think about all the game winners he's hit. This man needs to be on a team that can actually win a championship. Some would say since DeMar DeRozan has left that this team has no championship hopes. And I would agree. The real reason you should be watching them is because of Lonzo Ball. As I said, Lonzo Ball is doing something no one else has ever done in NBA history, coming back from a knee replacement. Thank you very much for getting to the end of this video and listening to all the storylines that I have. If you think there are any more that are interesting, please drop that down below. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it.